Alright, hi guys. So today we're going to be looking at starting our Mech project. So I'm going to make ourselves a new folder, call mine demo underscore Mech. That way I can easily bring in, drag and drop things that I need in here. Starting off, I'm going to drag and drop our reference image that we're going to be using. So I'm going to just pull over PureRef so you can see. So this is the main reference that we'll be using, following along with the book that we have for it. Now, I've also gone out and gathered a bunch of stuff off online. You can just find any of this on the internet. I'm using PureRef again for my reference gathering, right? And then I've also got some ATSTs as well, just to give some good inspirational reference for modeling our own version of it. I've also gathered reference as well for our custom model. Now I'm going to probably do a gun on the side of the head for mine. You guys are welcome to design whatever accessory you want for the actual mech itself, but the main thing we'll get started off with is doing setting up our projects. So I'm going to go back here, go to File, Set Project, and I'm going to go to Desktop, and I am going to find demo project. No, not the dice project, demo. I'm going to hit Set, and I'm going to make my current default. It's going to create the workspace.mel as well as the substance file in there. We can now officially close that. I'm going to start off. So we're going to be working with meters for this guy since we are making a decently sized mech. So to do that, we need to go to the settings, preferences, and then to the settings tab right here. This allows us to change it from centimeters, meters, millimeters, or inches, foots, yards, and so forth. I'm going to choose meters. As you can also see, as soon as I did that, it changed my grid. I also have to be very cautious of the fact that I need to also select all our cameras, go to the attribute editor, and add a couple more zeros for our far clipping plane, because otherwise if I zoom out we would have probably had the grid disappearing on us. Now that I've set those up, we can now go back to our channel layer box, right? So to start us off, we're going to get a reference to the human reference cube. So I'm just going to shift right click and make myself a cube. And for this cube in meters, I want 1.8 by 0.4 on the, so 1.8 on the Y for scaling, and 0.4 for the X, 0.4 for the Z and X. I'm going to tap spacebar to go to the 4 panes. You can also get that 4 pane view over here in the toolbar on the side. I'm going to Shift A to focus all of them out. Drag and drop this guy up top here. Technically, I could also type 0.8. If I didn't know, not 0.8. Let's do 0.85 maybe. Oh, hold on. No, it'd be 0.9. There we go. What am I thinking? 90 centimeters roughly, and then I'm just going to move this guy off to the side. Right? If you happen to have any better human references, you're more than welcome to grab them as well. In fact, I might just quickly grab my my 6-foot scale reference guy. Right, bring in Manny from Unreal. Drag him over here. You can already see it's pretty close representation. In fact, the 6-foot one is pretty too high, so I'm going to go back here and just grab the 510. There, that's a little better. Right, and I'm going to put that there. Human on ref. All right. So now that we've got our human reference in here, we may as well bring in our mech reference. Now we want to be modeling from our side view. That way our again, since as you can see how I brought in Manny, right? This is the forward-facing way we would have him. So I'm going to click this, and we will grab our reference. Now, I'm going to hit the R key to scale this thing up. We are going to then bring this up here, right? Let's see here. Let's see. Roughly around there, I would think. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go a little bigger than 4 grid spaces on mine, so I'm going to round that off to an even 20, actually. So, oh, come on. Bad timing here. That should also be off. Try this again. There we go. All right. So if I now type in 20, there we go. Then I've just got to make sure that this sits on top. I might even just bring it back so that his face is roughly right there, and that this item here will actually be kind of on the grid there. There we go. And I just need to make sure the bottom doesn't crash through the floor of our grid as well, right? Since this is the 0 grid line, and the pivot point for any game engine is at 0, 0. So once I have this, I can now also move this back. Now, while we're here, you can also quickly hop over to the attribute editor and play with the alpha gain on your image as well if you wanted to decrease it. I might put mine at 0.6 just to have a little less dominant. Then I'm going to go back to my channel layers. I'm also going to call this the side Mech ref. And then that way I have them all nicely named. And then with them both selected, I am going to quickly add them to a display layer in the channel layer box. Right, so I'm just going to click this, and we can call this the reference display DL for display layer. All right, reference DL, right? So a little note on like the display layers, right? So the first box here allows you to turn visibility on and off. Second box allows you to turn on visibility if you were to have them on during playback, right? So for whatever reason, I turn it off during playback and I hit play, you'll see they disappear, right? I'm going to turn that back on. The next one, you have template mode. As you can see, we've got like Manny as a template and also the template or the wireframe of a plane. Then the last one, which is what we want, is reference mode. Reference mode allows us to see things just exactly as they are, but we can't click on them in the space. We can still select them and move them over here and change properties, but we cannot select them in the 3D space. So now that we've got that, we've made our first cube, or you can use a actual human reference, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to hide my other cameras. And what I'm going to do is I am going to start us off with a circle. Now, for the circle, right, they have us actually do, so you can hit T to get the creation properties as well. In our case, though, you can also get it in the channel box over here. Whichever one you want. I'll use the one over here now that I've got it. So they have us do an 8x5. I'm just making sure I've got this right. Yeah, but I find this is a little too low poly for the mech itself. So I'm going to go a little higher on my divisions and do a 16 round circle just to get a better bake later. As you will find. I will, however, also quickly make another one. I will do the T8 and then 5. And that way, if I grab both of these, right, I can go vertex mode, grab these ones, shuffle them forward just about here. Actually, before I do that, let's turn on world Y, because that makes more sense for our symmetry, right? So this is the status line. You can turn on your symmetry with the drop-down menu here. You can also do symmetry on the modeling toolkit, as you can see over here. Object would be based off a single object or the object's y-axis, which technically I guess this would work, since these are two separate objects. Yeah, well, look at that. Alright, so roughly around here, I'm going to actually deselect the top there, bring that a little closer, something around there, roughly like that. Right. So then I can go to object mode. I'm going to turn this one 90 on the z-axis, just like we were supposed to, but I am going to drag this off to the side. In fact, I'll pull this up here out of the way. Well, actually, I'm going to also do this one first, 90, because it may as well go to wireframe. Going to grab both of these, shuffle them over here to basically be on top. All right. And then I'm just going to uniform scale them down until they're roughly the size I need first, because I don't want it to take up too much extra space on the UVs. So we just come back here, keep going around for the position. Then I'm just going to put that one off to the side so I can scale this up a little more, especially since I've got a nice round topology now. So this guy here, I'm going to put him up here. Hold X to put him back on the grid. All right, so now I can hold down Shift and clone this by moving around. I'm going to clone this guy up here, right? And then let's see here. Next, I'm going to Shift clone it to the side, just like this. Let's see here. Roughly around there, that's perfectly fine. Then I can now Shift clone this one to drag it up here. Right? The reason why we're having this is so that you've got this back here will be the upper leg. This here will be our lower leg. And then I will then Shift drag out this version, scale it down. Right? There we go. Then I just need to make it a little smaller, and then we've got that. So now we've got, oh, did I accidentally drag out and scale something else? By the looks of it, I did. So now that we've got that, let us get into actually making the connection. So the frames, I'm going to start us off with a cube, scale it down, right, till it's right around here. And while I'm at it, I may as well also have this cube here, just so we have it ahead of time. But I'm just going to Control Shift over here. And then I can now, so I'm going to move this one over here. Shift click that one around. There we go. We got a couple cubes, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to go to vertex now. Grab these two front ones. Oh, make sure we're on world movement. Oh, I see what's going on. Turn off your symmetry. Silly Mike. Forgetting about the symmetry. Let's see here. That one. This guy here. Don't be afraid to crash things through. I feel like I need to, being the foot, I'm going to actually, just because it makes it easier, right around there. Yeah. what? I'm going to put mine a little lower just so that way the foot part won't be crashing through for that one, right? Which is perfectly fine. Then I'm going to right click and go to vertexes. Start with this one, pull him right down here, try to get it semi close to the area. Right, so I'm grabbing 2 vertices at a time and dragging them around to match our reference, this detail here, right? So by the time when you look inside the actual 3D view, right, if I hop over here, right, you can see we've got the connection parts for the legs. So next, we're going to do this one, except for in order to actually get it to the center, I feel like I'm going to quickly add an extra edge with the multi-cut tool. So I hit Control-Shift-X to turn it on, hold Control, use the middle mouse button while holding Control. That'll add the line there. Now I can go to Object Mode, hold down the V key, grab my my X-axis arrow, and then if I bring my mouse to one of the vertexes that I just added, you can actually see them when you hit Alt-5, you can snap it there, and then I'm just going to go back and remove it by Control backspacing. All right, that was just so that we could easily get it snapped to the center. And then I'm just going to drag these guys up, grab them manually, one top square by itself, right? So I'm grabbing 2 vertices at the same time just to make sure that we still have a nice square bar, and we crash them through like this. Eventually I am going to be deleting the inside faces, but that'll be when we get into cleaning this part up. So we are now going to make the block in for our actual foot. So there, go to vertex mode, drag that down, go back to our back of the face. Oops, make sure you only grab the back. You can, I'm going to do R and then use the shift extrude. So holding shift with the scale tool, I can scale this in to do an offset. I can also shift extrude it out this way and see that I need to, let's see here, if I hold shift and hit the greater than symbol. So I can now scale this down. Now you'll notice there that didn't quite have the effect I wanted. Technically I should do it this way. So holding control, or scaling on just the 2 axes for the X and Y themselves. So holding control will scale both of those, which will allow me to at least get a similar idea. All right, and while I'm here, actually, I am going to go to faces, delete this back face since no one's going to see it because it's going to be crashing through there all the time. In fact, I am going to give it a little extra just to be on the safe side, since we will be actually rotating this around the object, which actually you can, after I duplicate this one and drag this around, oops, drag it to the back, I'm going to change my, no, I don't want X, I want the Z one to be the negative. So that way I can turn it around. If we actually look over here, you'll notice it turned around really nicely there. Let's see here. Let's see. Just a little bigger. Since I know how this model works, I'm actually going to do a little bit of cleanup since I know these things won't get rendered anyway because they'll be inside the thing. I just selected the first face, shift double click the second one, and then I can hit delete. I'm just going to do a quick bridge because, yeah, there we go. Now, the top view will be a little different. That's because we are going to grab these guys quickly, and then I'm going to hit the E key, and then holding J will snap in 5-degree increments, right? Or no, 15-degree increments. And then that way I can then move this here. By the looks of it, it looks like I have to scale this out some to make it a little bit thicker. But I am going to... This is where, for creative reasons, I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go to vertexes, grab this guy, drag them back, go to 4, just to see that I am what it looks like, which actually is pretty decent. And I'll move it a little bit back, that way it matches its sum. Then I'll duplicate it. Actually, here, I'm going to freeze the transform. So freezing a transform will reset the transforms of the object in its current position, right? I'm also going to tap D and hold X to move my pivot point to the center for this guy. Because now I can Control D to duplicate it, and then just -1 it on the X. Oop. I didn't duplicate it. Control D. Sure I hit that, but that's all right. That time we did. Control 1 just to double check. Perfect. So we've now got that there. All right. So maybe deleting it was a bad idea, but technically you'd probably have like an actual like pistons or something there to actually take the weight and allow it to the feet to move back up and down. But how we are animating this character, I know we don't need it. But moving along, I'm going to grab these guys, Control 1, go to face mode for all 4 of them. Oops. Grab these inside faces now and actually clean them up right now. That way it's nice and easy. There we go. Grab all these guys. And I'm just going to move them so that it's just on the outside. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that way. I'm going to, yeah. Actually, I'm going to undo that move. Right, I'm going to group them together. So Control G, that way my pivot point's there. I can snap it along the grid, and I'm going to go 1 grid out, just like that. All right, perfect. We will be cleaning these up into more finite pieces later. So let us continue blocking out our mech. So I'm going to grab another cube. In fact, no, I am going to need to scale it in some. Let's just do this really quickly. There. Rotate. I'm going to use the camera-based rotation in the here to slightly give me that angle that I'm looking for right there. Continue trying to slowly get this angle here. That way. Have it that way. I'm going to give it a little bit of a scale out on the x-axis. Not too much though, because yeah, there we go. And then I can grab this face, hit W, shift extrude that thing forward, go to vertex mode, and then I'm just going to, on the side view, give it the proper profile, right? So just drag selecting will grab both vertices. In fact, I should technically there. And a little closer to the actual shape that we need. going to come back to our legs. I'm going to start actually with this one. So since I have more divisions, I have to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then for selection, instead of the 3, I'm going to shift right click and then duplicate these faces. Go to this and Control E and just pull that out to give roughly the same amount of thickness. Maybe a little extra just to be on the safe side. And then what I'm going to do is grab this face here. I'm going to pull it here and rotate it just so that I can get a bit nicer looking shin guards, as they would call it, right? Then I can rotate this one as well, just to mimic that there. But I prefer the rounder side. It will also bake a lot nicer when we do it. So I'm also going to come over here and grab the 6 ones over here as well. So I'm going to see that it kind of starts right here. So if I hit Q so I don't accidentally do anything, right? Then I can come up here and grab those ones too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shift right click to do the duplicate faces. You can also find these under the mesh or edit mesh menu, right? Go to object. I'm going to extrude these guys again. You can use the gizmo here to pull it out on the Z axis as well, whichever way you want to go. I should have looked at the number the last time, but that's perfectly fine. This one looks all right. So move this over here. Technically, actually, it might be better if I just do Texas. There. Works better. Yeah, so just moving vertices around, make it nice. And then I go to object mode. We've got some nice shin guards. All right. So now that I've got the shin guards done, and also the main body itself, we need to start with the head. So I'm going to grab a simple cube. And then I'll just bring it up here, scale it close to what I need. Scale it down a little. And then I'm also going to, no, I'm not going to scale it inwards. I'm going to let it have a little bit of overhang, which will be nice. So now I can go to vertex mode, grab these 2 vertices, these 2 down here to slowly but surely start to move my thing in the way. So now I just need to pull this in roughly until I get what I need. Now I'm going to add some edges, so Control Shift X. Let's see here. Oh, Control Shift X. I'm going to add one down the center because I like to. I'm going to manually add this one here since it's the closest to where I want, as well as hovering over these sides, right? So holding Control adds a what we call the edge loop, right? Since it goes all the way around. So I am going to click there. That way I can just manually drag this back like that. Maybe drag it a little more back there. And just like that. And then I'm also going to fix the back here. So we want this one to come up a little. There we go. Now, let's see here. Going to get our other pieces, we need to, I'm going to turn on object X. There we go. Snap this to around, I'm going to say 60. So in order to, you hold down Control and Shift, it'll snap at 10-degree increments, right? So if I do 60% on this side, it'll give us a decent border around it, right? So what I'm going to do is come back here actually and remove our center edge. Turn off the symmetry for right now. We'll go off, go to faces, and I'll grab these ones. Shift right click and we will duplicate those ones as well. Select it. Oh. Hit Control E. I'm going to use the gizmo over here. Match the front one there. Hit W. Go to vertex. Grab the 2. Shift move. Oh. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to undo that because it looks like I forgot to add a edge. So what I need to do is I'm going to get it close to this vertex. There we go. Hit Q, grab this one, shuffle it there, quickly grab that there. There we go. Now I can go to faces. Ooh. Let's go to object. Oh, I see. Now I can, no, I don't want to delete that one. I want to delete that one. Now I can go to faces, select these guys, shift, right click, duplicate faces, go to object mode, Control E, pull it out, right? And then I can go to vertexes, Q, W, sorry, that way I can move these ones down here. This guy here, that one here to match our Mech right around here. I'm going to grab these faces, shift right click and duplicate them to object mode, grab it and Control E as well. This one I'm going to just give it, hold Control if you want to not have it go out so far. I'm just going to do it around there because now I can go to vertexes. Oops. Object. Make sure it's only on the one object. Grab this vertex first. Shuffle it up. Oops. Grab these 4, right? Move it down. Now these ones, actually I'm going to grab both of them. Shuffle it down. And we will have it do something like this. That way we've now got our bottom part of the mech. Let's see here. I'm going to turn off the reference really quick just so I can see what it looks like here, and I'm going to bring that up, have it for sure crash into it just so that it doesn't look weird and wonky. I'm gonna once again turn on Object X, grab these guys, shift right click and duplicate. Go here. Now let's see here. There we go. I'm going to combine these guys because I feel like we should. That way, now if I hit Control E, right, and I extrude, give them some thickness. Actually, I'm going to, yeah, Control E. I'm going to give it thickness. That way it comes out nicely. Then I can go to vertexes. I know whatever I select over here will happen to the other side because now that I've actually got everything over here, just got that. So I just need to pull this guy forward, down a little. Right, and while we're at it, no. I feel like they're trying to add a little bit of perspective there, so that's why I'm going to leave mine nice and snug to the model like this. So, there we go. So now that I've got this all modeled up nicely, I feel like we're good to start cleaning up the area a little, and then I'm going to do some cleanup and that. Oh, I'm missing something. Actually, I'm going to grab my base here, shift right click. I'm going to negative 90 it, and then I'm going to snap this to the center and then rotate it till it fits my section a little better, just like that. I'm going to Control 1, go to Faces, select that, deselect those ones, delete them, since we won't be rendering those as well. All right. Now, let's see here. I'm going to let us now grab everything. I'm going to grab it all. I'm going to delete its history. Oops, freeze transform is what I also wanted to do, which also, again, zeroes out the transform, zeroes out the rotation, and sets the scale to 111. This is ideal, especially if you're doing animation, right? Because then this would be set to the 0, 0 at the default, right? So an animator could come in here and then re-zero everything back out, and it would return to its default state, right? So like this would be Manny's like A pose, as you would say, right? We could say that is his 0, 0 pose for everything, right? Type idea. Some might use it in a 0, 0 as a T pose, all depending on how you model it and which way you want to rig it and animate it. We are going to be rigging and animating our mech, so let's see here. I'm going to do some cleanup so that we get our actual our outliner organized here. I'm just going to call this the low cylinder bake ref, just so you guys can see what it'll look like when I bake it. But typically when you bake high poly version, so as an example, I would technically Control D, Control 1. I'm going to grab this edge right here, this one here, turn off the symmetry. I'm going to bevel it with 2 segments, right, and a small fracture, because this is how you would actually see what it looks like when you subdivide it, right? So subdividing will basically turn one polygon into 4, in which case for our high poly we are going to smooth this, right? And then if I hit wireframe, right, you can already kind of see what's going to happen here in the wireframe, right? How these things don't match up. So you're going to have these little type of artifacts here because it doesn't quite hug the mesh when we actually bake it down. So, which is why I'm going with you can start with even higher and then take away edges as you need it, as long as you don't destroy the UVs when we make them. So the UVs is the texture map coordinates that we will be looking at bit later, because we'll be finishing up our low poly first and then doing UVs. But for right now, let's clean up our outliner. I'm going to delete that high. No. Yeah, I'll delete that for right now. So what we're going to do is actually grab all these guys. I'm going to hit combine, because that'll be one object. I'm going to grab all these guys here, combine them, right? So the leg part, the motor cylinder, right? And the shin guard, we're going to combine those. We're going to grab this motor cylinder, the actual leg and the guard, and combine those, right? The body can be by itself. Oh, I missed a part for the back here, so I'm going to do that really quick. These guys as well. Actually, before I do that, hit Control 1. Let's go to faces. May as well do a little cleanup before we get to the UV part. Especially since you know you're not going to be rendering the inside of these guys. Unless you were to blow up your mech, which, well, you would want to remodel it anyway so that it would actually blow up into smaller chunks anyway. And have fractures and all that fun stuff. But I'm going to leave the ones on here for right now. Actually, yeah, no, I'm going to leave those for now. Actually, I should go back. Right. I wasn't thinking, right? I'm going to want those polygons there for when I duplicate them for the high poly. So right now I'm just going to leave them. But I am going to combine all this stuff here. So combine. Once again, select everything. I'm going to delete its history. But before I freeze the transforms, let's set our pivot points for these guys, right? So you can see if I hit W, the pivot point's not quite where I would expect it to be. I'm going to hit Control 1. I'm going to hit D, right? Because we want this guy to technically turn, specifically if I, holding V, right? You can use the middle mouse to drag it to any vertex when you drag it around. Now, I'm going to hit the R key, or no, D, and then... Let's see here. See. All right. Right around there. D. See here. You can always also reset things as well. Tools and things like that. All right. So I've got that one there. And then I'm going to grab that. Oops. See here. That one's perfectly fine where it is. This one, however, D, I'm going to hold V and just drag it with my to this vertex here and then drag it up, right? It's already in this middle of the object, which is perfect. And as you can see now, right, if I rotate this, right, we can kind of get a behavior like the mech was moving up and down, right? So if we were to like grab both of all this kind of thing, move it up and down, right? That means we also need to move this pivot point, right? Tab D, grab one arrow at a time. Oops. And then holding V and tap D to turn it off. For the foot, we want it to snap. Oops. Just grab. No. So the reason why I'm not using the middle mouse and dragging from the center one is because I want to make sure it stays in the center of the actual object. Where if I use the middle mouse, it'll drag it right to the vertex. Now. Whoops. And then that also means we need to come back. Oh, shoot. Separate. Let's see here. I didn't want to grab the front toe. That's what I want. Combine. There we go. Tab D again. You can also grab this arrow, or this one here, because that's 2 axes. And there we go. Then this guy, if I tap D now, I can now, once again, snap that one to the east. Ooh. Let's first center its pivot, then holding V. I'm going to snap it here. That way, if I rotate it, right, we've got it rotating around the foot. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to select everything, Shift P, and then what's in here? Right. So I'm going to delete the history, freeze the transforms now. And we are going to finish up the little bit of cleanup here by renaming things as well. That way, we'll have everything named and ready for us, right? So I'm going to start by going up. So let's see here. So we've got the SM low, SM Mech underscore L toe low. We'll be using a function inside Substance Painter since we are doing a high and low poly version. So let's see here. There we go. So this one is the SM Mech left foot low as well. Then we're going to, no, I want this one here. This will be the tibula low. Then we need the this one here. Femur low. And then we just need the body itself. All right, which is this one. And then that will just leave me with the head itself. So I'm going to do that as well. Right. So off camera, I'm going to quickly also do up a quick block-in version of my camera or my weapon, right? My accessory that I'm going to do. And then we will look at doing the UVs and that as well. But for those of you that want to see what your mech will look like when he's full, you can grab these guys. Oops, hit Q. In fact, I'm going to shrink it. You can use the plus and minus key on the keyboards to increase or decrease your gizmo size. And then select these guys. I'm going to Control G them, right? And then I'm just going to call this the left mech left or capital underscore L leg. Right, pivot points in the center origin. If I now do the edit, and I'm just going to do a special duplicate, right? Make sure it's an instance, and I am actually by default, I'm going to reset it, right? So set it to instance, so anything I do to one will happen to the other. I'm also going to do -1 on the X, duplicate special, right? Don't bother renaming the actual geometry just yet, because you'll want to only rename it once you actually make a physical copy, not a instance version, after you guys do the UVs, right? So I'm just going to change the group name for right now. But with that, I'm going to leave you guys with off here. When we come back, I am going to then be moving into doing the UVs while also showing you what I did for my block-in / low poly version of the accessory, which will be a gun for the side, I think. So I'll see you then. So we're going to make a little bit of a block-in for my custom model, which is the laser gun that I'm going to make on the side. I'm going to use this one here as my key reference, but I will be taking elements probably from a few others. But let us start with I'm going to hit Control D here just to kind of go over. So I'm going to set my colors first. Apply, right? So I would start off by probably making a cube for this main block here, right? Obviously, I'm not the greatest drawer with my mouse, but once again, then I switch my colors. Go like another block. Horrible one. Wish there was like straight line drawing. But once again, I would then repeat that over here. Create a nice triangle piece like that. And then you would then have a cylinder, and then maybe a cube for these, or a cube for the laser parts here. But I'm not going to go over the actual tools, but I'll just quickly show you how I would kind of block it in. So let's see. 1 second here. All right. Well, this is the final version, obviously, of my block-in little thing here. I've set the pivot points, named them. All right. So we've got the mech arm. It's top gun, bottom gun, and then the base gun itself. I'm going to Control G to group them, and just call this the gun arm, and then _L GRP. But with that, the next time we're going to look at doing UVs, and then we'll eventually look into bringing these up into high poly.